The year 2020 will be remembered for decades as the year in which a virus hit the entire world and changed our health, economies, and way of life. That's why I'm speaking to you through a video and we cannot meet each other in a nice venue in Brussels. This epochal crisis has put back at the center of the discussion anyway the importance of research, science, open science, and in particular also big data. My talk of the day is about on how big data can reveal the secrets of the ocean for ocean conservation, because the ocean is the origin and engine of all life on this planet and it is under threat. Our goal should be to limit human-caused damage to marine ecosystems, establishing some measures of protection like the marine protected areas. These maps show you how no area of the ocean is untouched by human activities and the negative effect of climate change, fishing, shipping and pollution are rapidly increasing as stated by Alpern in 2019. Then we have to be aware that 90% of the ocean is still unknown and unmapped at a reasonable resolution for marine conservation. This means that we know better Mars than our ocean. In this framework, the big data will also play an invaluable role in establishing and monitoring new MPAs and measuring their efficacy, as I will demonstrate in the case studies of the Barry Canyon that I will present today and is published in the chapter 3 of the document we are discussing in this webinar. The Barry Canyon is located in the South Adriatic Sea in the middle of the Mediterranean and is particularly care to me because I have been working here for 15 years now and I was sailing here with my parents since I was kids, wondering what is under the blue. Of course, it is not just care to me, but it represents an ideal laboratory from scientists because of the environmental conditions and from oceanographic, geological and biological point of view. It is the home, for example, of cold water corals and it represents an hotspot for biodiversity and ecosystem functioning. But it is highly vulnerable to disturbances and has a low recovery rate. It is threatened by the impact of fishing activity, especially on the shelf nearby the canyon, but also by marine litter, among which I would like to mention the presence of chemical weapons dumping coming from World War II, Balkans and Kosovo War, when people were thinking that throw something in the water means throw something anywhere. This area is still not under protection, but we truly believe it deserves it. One of our goals is to be able to design a new deep sea MPAs within this area to be managed and monitored through time. And the big data will help us in this very important duty. Thanks to the advent of the new technology, we have a complete different picture of the ocean compared with the ones produced at the time the bathymetry was measured by a rope and the weight, and the scientists were understanding how to use acoustics for measuring the water depth. Of course, I was not bored at the time, and luckily I was able to use during these 15 years all these different instruments producing an enormous amount of data for disclosing the secrets of the Barry Canyon, from the surface to the unknown and deep sea floor. But of course, this huge amount of data collected with different kind of instruments is struggling me during these years because of the heterogeneity of data storage, the difficulties with sharing data and using it in downstream application, because of variety of temporal scale, because it requires significant data storage and capacity and computational power. And of course, it requires a lot of time in processing, for example, video from remote operated vehicles. We had a lot of challenges to face, but we found some solutions during time. First of all, we designed a marine spatial data infrastructure to reduce data heterogeneity and to integrate different kinds of data with the help of a standard conceptual data model to give the accessibility to different kinds of information to different scientists through a data portal. Secondly, We represented the virtual community within a virtual research environment that was implemented during a European project called Everest, that represents a multidisciplinary platform that enables the scientists to access data from different sources, reducing extremely fragmentation, process and store big data through the usage of virtual machines and cloud storage, to design and create repeatable workflows, and finally, to share the entire life cycle of the data and of the research thanks to the research object concepts. The research object concepts The research object encapsulates data, workflows, results, and documents in a box that can be shared and reused at different levels. And the platform itself allows to access and geographically visualize the research objects. In the Barry Canyon in particular, we created several research objects with the aim of sharing the protocols needed to effectively monitoring the habitat extent and conditions as required by the Marine Strategy Framework Directive. Thanks to the research objects, we were able to store the algorithm implemented to run habitat suitability model within a repeatable and reusable workflows, to encapsulate the data, the workflows, the documents, and the results within research objects and shared with many other scientists all these informations. I truly believe as a scientist that the virtual research environment represents a real revolution for data storage, but also for data sharings among the scientific community. Then the Barry Canyon will also be a testing site for the deployment of the new long endurance autonomous underwater vehicle within the framework of the Horizon 2020 project called Endurance. And within this project, we will use the machine learning techniques for pre-data processing to extract information in real time. So the machine learning in this context will be able to reduce extremely the amount of time for video processing and to reduce the time needed for these consuming procedures. We are willing to see the results, but we truly believe of the usefulness of this kind of machine learning technique. So to conclude this talk, I would like to give you some resume points. So first of all, we truly believe that the development of the algorithms is needed to fully implement automated feature detection. And given the complexity of benthic habitats and species diversity, we should never forget that we need to be guided by humans to avoid the risk of artifacts, errors, and noise going unchecked with potential consequences in misinterpretation. Then, we finally need to trust and benefit from the existing data infrastructure for data management and sharing, especially in the era of the big data. I would like to mention infrastructure such as Emonet and CDataNet that are effectively storing now and integrated different kinds of data coming from all European countries. Then we should fully enter within the virtual research environment and scientists that are already in place to foster the multidisciplinarity as much as possible. In this sense, I would like also to mention the EOS initiative that was launched by European Commission in 2016 as part of the European Cloud Initiatives that will provide a virtual environment for you researcher, providing open, free, and seamless service for data storage, management, analysis, and reuse. The European Science Clouds and the virtual research environment will be really foster the multidisciplinarity, will cross the border between different disciplines, and I think this is extremely important now that we have to face this big crisis and we have to think about again the relationship between the humans and the environments to be able to protect our planet. Thank you.